Hello, hello. Welcome to the 10th episode of The Play That Changed My Life, a podcast brought to you by Harbinger Theatre and OSM Studios. Really, my elaborate excuse to get more theater in my life. We have two fantastic guests. I'm very excited to learn more about them today. We have Connie Lopez, who is an actor who will be appearing in Shayna Maidel by Barbara LeBeau.
Barbara LeBeau, yes.
And that's coming up next week at Classic Theater Guild. Connie is an artistic associate with Two of Us Productions, and they're collaborating with Classic Theater Guild. Awesome. And Ryan Palmer, the man, the myth, the legend, the funniest man in the Capital Region. He is appearing in the Minutes at Albany Civic Theater with a certain podcast host. And we have two more weekends, tonight through Sunday, and then next Friday through Sunday, March 1st through 3rd. Yes. Yeah. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was driving here and I was like, man, what a job. What a job I've created for myself. Looking forward to this conversation. So to kick it off, a couple articles in the New York Times, too, about the same subject matter. Michael Paulson and Jesse Green both wrote an article about there are 18 shows opening on Broadway between March and April of this year. In time for the Tony Awards deadline, and whether that was too much or why does Broadway backload all the shows. There, over 30 shows will have opened this year, but more than half of them are opening in the last 2 months of the year. Whether that was a good thing, Jesse Green compared it to Christmas tree farms who only do business 2 months a year, which I thought was rather amusing, comparing Broadway to a Christmas tree farm. But what do you think? Or do you have plans on going down? Or yeah, you're going down.
I'm going down because we've talked about it. I really want to see The Patriots.
Yeah.
By oh my God, the guy who wrote The Crown. Can't think of his name.
Peter Morgan.
Peter Morgan. Yeah. And it kills me because the musicals, they'll open and they'll run.
Yeah.
Years, 2 years, but plays, it's like, oh, this has got to be in and out in 10 weeks.
Yeah.
And if you miss it, you miss it. And
yeah,
that just breaks.
Does it have a limited run?
12 weeks.
Yep.
Opens April 5th, and I think it said it's got to be done before June.
And I'm telling Ryan, don't buy tickets. Don't buy tickets. You can get them on TDF, the online website.
Which I will be doing.
I'm guaranteeing him that show will be online. I paid full price for the Mother play, Jessica Lange and Jim Parsons at the Helen Hayes Small Theater. I just didn't think it would show up on TDF, so I went full price.
And then it did?
No.
Gotcha.
I don't know what's going to happen, but I splurged. I went, whatever it is, I think it was $140 each for the last row in the theater.
Well, I know I got lucky because I splurged when I went to go see The Shark is Broken. And I said, I need my seats. I need to be close. I need to be on the aisle because I'm a big guy. I need to stretch out. And then it was the weekend that the mudslide took out the track. So I had to call and had to get, change my tickets. And they said, well, you're in luck because next week is Shark Week. So literally what the guy said to me, he said, so every ticket in the orchestra is $50.
Oh.
So I actually got like $120 back, same seats. And I said, oh, this is great. Thanks, Shark Week.
Yeah.
But I think the original I spent was like $130 for row M or something. But
see, I always do TDF.
Yeah.
And because there's so much going on, I'm sure I'm going to find something I want to see.
Right.
Because there's so many things I want to see.
Yeah. I say there is a certain level. What did we also buy full price for? I think it was the Days of Wine and Roses. Big mistake. Big mistake because it's discounted all the time now that it moved to Studio 54. But you don't know it's going to move. And,
Right.
And at the time it was playing at the Atlantic. But, we overspent by, whatever, $70 a ticket. And you're right, Connie. It's like, by going to see these stars, or people that you have to see, it's a Paula Vogel play. We'll be able to get our hands on it, and we'll be able to produce it in a year, but because it's Jessica Lange and Jim Parsons, we, went for the shiny package.
Well, that's what's so interesting to me about The Patriot is, I know who Will Keane is, but he's not Jim Parsons.
Michael Stuhlbarg.
He was in Fargo and he was in Doctor Strange, and that's all I've seen him in.
Yeah, he was nominated for Pillow Man, I believe.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure he even won. But
really,
but he was also Empire Boulevard, or what was it?
We don't even know but it's like 150 for. And I was like, okay, well,
no, wait.
I know who they are, but
wait.
Yeah, I'll be waiting. But if I miss it, I'm coming to your door.
Please do.
Okay.
Please do, and we'll play a game. We'll play some Trivial Pursuit or something. Excellent. Any plans to go down, Connie?
Well, right now we're very busy. So between doing a Shayna Maidel up here, we're doing a repeat performance down in Copac, and we're already in the middle of auditioning for the next play that we're doing, which is It's Only a Play, which opens in May. So we're kind of
And you're doing the updated one.
Yes.
Yep, of course. The other one's 30 years old and all the references.
Right, a little old.
Yeah. Again, I think I paid full price for that. Nathan Lane, Matthew Broderick.
Yes. Rupert
Stockard
Grint.
Channing. And F. Murray Abraham, who allegedly brings his Oscar and hides it on every set that he performs on.
Really?
Have you heard this?
No.
I haven't, but
Yes.
I believe it.
Yes. Like he's doing Merchant of Venice and he has to have his Oscar somewhere on set.
That's odd though, right? Because not only is that weird by itself, it's like it's this really emotional piece, and you risk something happening to it.
Yeah.
We
should verify this. I think we may have to cut this out of the podcast. But no, I've seen that more than once. That he
Strange.
And I don't think it's like he has it in his dressing room. I think he hides it on
the set.
Yeah.
Next time he's on Broadway, we'll have to go down
watch
and
out. Somebody may decide to go off with it. So.
Anyway, I think it's exciting. Spring in New York and 18 shows, and everybody wants the Tony nominations and the great big boost that the Tony broadcast brings. Is that true? But yeah, everyone's battling it out to last this summer. We saw the news that Beautiful Noise is closing this summer. But, things are opening in the summer now. Like last summer, Shark is Broken. Once Upon a One More Time. There were like 6 shows that opened in the summer, I think, last year.
I don't know if many of them lasted, but they definitely did open. I think July is
still, you have choice, and the new plays in the summer in the city. That never happened. When I was living in the city back in the 80s, and there were like on the east side of 7th Avenue, the Belasco, the Lyceum, the Court, never used. There were years that would go by that the Court wasn't used. And you would see like they would leave the old marquee up. Peter Strauss in Einstein and the Polar Bear was on the Court Theater for years. But not the play wasn't running, just the marquee. But yeah, it's like I don't think I was in the Belasco until maybe Mark Rylance's company, with the 12th Night and Richard III he did. But I don't remember it ever being used. And maybe it was out of commission for a period of time. But yeah, I mean, there's so much going on. I think it's very exciting post COVID, and they
Yeah.
say the numbers aren't back. Like 15% of the revenue isn't back. I understand, even though I'm paying more for tickets than I ever have. But yeah, but for everyone out there, check out TDF, Theater Development Fund, online. They run the TKTS booth, which is lovely, but TDF online, you can buy your tickets in advance. They're cheaper than the booth. Uh, Top price for Broadway is $59. You can find tickets to the Met. You can find tickets to the Apollo. Off Broadway, all sorts of things. Jersey, Connecticut, but yeah, you can get Broadway seats in advance, and it's a great, great, great resource. And like Connie said, just put a date in there. I'm looking for March 6th, and it gives you like 20 options. So you're not going to see Jessica Lange and the Mother play, but Bedlam Theater Company is doing the assassination of Julius Caesar, and they are smashing it up between Shakespeare and Shaw. Have you heard this?
Yes.
Have not.
I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
But I got to see John Lithgow and all my sons going through TDF.
Yeah.
So you'd be surprised what you can actually get tickets for.
So many great things. Chris and I discovered Soho Rep, Rattlestick. Rattlestick, beautiful little theater, like 80 seats, and they do these incredible shows. There's Dale Orlander Smith, a Pulitzer nominated playwright. It has a show going up there, $15. $15. And Rattlestick produced The Aliens by Annie Baker. They produced Lewiston Clarkston by Samuel Hunter. They produced 3C by David Odgme, playwright of Stereophonic, coming to Broadway. Awesome play. 3C is a retelling of Three's Company.
Oh.
I hadn't heard about that.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. What's his name? Larry? Tripper. Jack.
Jack.
Is a Vietnam veteran, I think. Yeah, and it's an awesome play. All right. Anything else about New York City? Fun in the city. What's another cheap way? Today Ticks. Today Ticks are good.
Latex. Okay.
I don't use them very often. Do you have them? Have you used them?
I like to have plans, so I rarely I'm just gonna go.
Yeah,
Whatever
well,
happens. So
today-
That's what I always do. Let's go.
Despite their name, Today Ticks, you can buy them in advance. Yeah, they do. They do a lot of lotteries. I've never done the lottery either, and I think every show on Broadway now has a lottery.
Emily Bryan, she keeps winning lotteries,
Yeah.
so she keeps going down. She
Yeah,
won the lottery for Spam a lot, and I said, please take me, and she didn't. So
Spam a lot's on TDF. Yeah. But yeah, I've never done the lottery, which I would need to do for Merrily We Roll Along. So anyway, all right, great. Let's talk about us.
Okay.
Capital Region's where it's at. But yeah, Capital Region's great because we're 2.5 hours away. Chris and I go down and do 2 shows and come back the same day. It's a long day, but yeah, it's great. Capital Region, Connie. So Two of Us Productions. Tell me about Two of Us. It's you and Steve.
Yes.
Yes.
We started about 20 years ago because we were both, he's a musician and a director, and I'm an actor. So we would spend, 80% of our time being involved in theater and not being together, which we finally said, this is kind of silly. The summer that I spent most of the summer over in Connecticut doing Agnes of God, and he was over in Greene County conducting an orchestra for I forget what play. And I said, we have to stop doing it this way. So we decided to form the company. And that's basically what we've been doing since. We still do things with other companies, but
Yeah,
mostly together.
that's nice. That is not why Chris and I formed Harbinger. That's great. That's great. Yeah. So 20 years now, and I heard you talking about Copake Grange. Where were you first performing? Is that like been a home base for you?
Well, we started actually performing in some of the school performing arts centers because they usually have really nice spaces. So
Yeah.
we've performed in the Hudson High School's Performing Arts Center. We did, I don't remember what we've done where now anymore, but we've done Superstar, we did Les Mis, we've done Tale of Two Cities. We used Taconic Hills Performing Arts Center, which is stunning. It was built in 2000. So those shows we do in a large performing arts center. And then when we do smaller shows, it's the Grange, it's the library. We've toured with some things. I think it was Sister Mary Ignatius, which is again dated now, so we wouldn't do it again. But we toured with that, so we perform all over.
Yeah, fascinating. I love the range of shows.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you're doing big musicals, and then small character plays. You've also done radio plays. Did that start with the pandemic, or were you doing that beforehand? And it started with
Actually, it was one of our advisory board members who said, rather than not doing anything, why don't we just start doing radio plays? He said it'd keep us busy, and he said, I'm sure that there's an audience, and it's great. We've got a following now that shows up. We've been doing Christmas Carol every year now. I think we started that in 2000, maybe not. Yeah, 2000. We started 2020, and then we started Suspense Theater. So we were doing them initially every other week, which got to be crazy. I think the first year we did something like 50 plays. Now we do it every 3 weeks and generally a shorter run, January through March.
Awesome. I was never really into podcasts until, we're driving down in the city every week, every other week, and the podcast really makes the time go by. Instead of listening to the classic rock or your Broadway station, I was like, I was like, wow, we've already been... we're in Poughkeepsie already. Great. So now you're in the Albany or Schenectady. Have you performed in the, say, Albany, Schenectady, Troy?
Not me. This is the first time I'm performing up here.
That's great.
I generally perform down by us, or like I said, Connecticut. I used to perform a lot in the Woodstock area with New York Conservatory for the Arts, down in Poughkeepsie with New Day, and then in New York City, some off-Broadway stuff. So I've been all over the place. This is the first time up here.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's exciting. I love to see companies working together, and you and Steve are so great. I love seeing your work that comes out, even though I don't make it to it much. I did review the one murder mystery, which I thought was really cool.
The one we did at the library?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, what was the name of
Is that Karaoke Killer?
No.
No. Oriental Rug? No.
No.
It wasn't that either. I don't remember now. We have like a huge
Yeah,
volume
it
of
was
shows.
it was the neighbor and
Oh, I know. You're talking The Stranger in the Attic.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Stranger in the Attic.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a neat play. Yeah. And I was like surprised. I'd never heard of it, although the title seems familiar to other things.
Well,
But
it's interesting. It's written by John Kasich. And we found out about the play because he sent it to us.
Oh.
He had seen that we were producing, and we
Right.
produced a lot of new things. And he sent us his other play, which was, I think, The Servant's Last Serve, which was a comedy, but we weren't really into doing a comedy right then. And then he sent us this, and we were like, very interested. We really
Yeah.
liked it.
yeah,
The twists were interesting.
yeah, it was. It was. Nice job. Ryan Palmer, where did you go to school?
I went to Troy High, Flying Horses.
And
What you mean college?
no, I know you went to New Paltz, but did you meet Barbara Davis?
Yeah, she was my theater teacher from being freshman, all the way through, and she directed all but one show that I was in for the entire time, and I was in all of them. But
What'd you do in high school?
Oh my gosh! So we did freshman year. We did Curious Savage by John
Yeah.
Patrick. which was my first show ever. And I had determined, I said, if I don't get into this show, I'm going to go play lacrosse, and that's going to be my life. So didn't have to do that. When we did Music Man.
We might have lost him to lacrosse.
You would have. I'd be in Europe right now.
Lacrosse.
Throwing things, whatever they do. Then sophomore year, we did a weird adaptation of Gentlemen Prefer Blondes for the play. It was very strange.
Play,
yeah. And it was fun. Followed by Hello, Dolly. And then my junior year, we did The Bad Seed, that was a lot of fun. That was like the first serious thing I'd ever done. Followed by Once Upon a Mattress, which was my first lead in a musical because I played the Silent King. And they wrote that on the call sheet. It was, the guy's name was King Sextimus. It was Ryan Palmer as King Sextimus, and in bold and underlined, the Silent. I was like, thank you. And then senior year, we did Harvey, where I was Dr. Chumley, which was a lot of fun. And then Anything Goes, that Barb did not direct, because she was head of the English department at that time, and she was like, I can't do all this.
Yeah.
So, and then I graduated and went on my life.
Excellent. And down to New Paltz, and then up here to conquer the capital region.
Yeah.
And I saw you in your first with the aforementioned Classic Theater Guild, an adaptation of A Christmas Carol, where Ryan was the ghost of Christmas past?
I was present.
Present. And he had a nice long flowing robe. And to take Scrooge on his journey, they played Magic Carpet Ride.
He loves this story. He loves it.
I love it.
It was the funniest thing. The play was moving along in a familiar Christmas Carol way. And then my eyes almost fell out of my head with Ryan shimmying and shaking to Steppenwolf.
I love it.
They played Magic Carpet Ride for his transition. It was the funniest thing I've seen.
I was the first of just a few plays.
Yeah, you like working.
I do. It's
How long ago was that?
that was 15. Yeah, because I graduated in 2015, and I came up and I saw the
Almost 10 years.
almost.
Yeah, man.
But,
Yeah.
that was the first one, December 2015.
And I've since seen Ryan at Sand Lake Center for the Arts, Schenectady Civic Players, Albany Civic Theater. Is this your first at Albany?
Second. First one was Perfect Arrangement last year.
Right. Yes. Awesome.
And bouncing around, HMT.
Homemade theater.
With Diane for The Mousetrap. That was a lot of fun. That was a nice, serious, because I played Trotter in The Mousetrap, which...
Have you done Not So Common?
I've tried to. They won't take me.
And you haven't done Slock, right?
Tried to. They won't take me.
They will, please. Please. Do you have an ambition? I don't know that it was conscious on my part to work with every company in the Capital Region.
I'm not ticking off a sheet or anything, but every time
There's a sense of accomplishment.
Yeah,
My first time. Oh, I'm making my debut.
I do like the debut making. That's fun, and those opportunities are slowing down as you keep making more.
Just went into Jiminy Glick voice. Your debut.
But because I don't do a whole lot of musicals in general, just because sometimes they're doing Mean Girls or School of Rock, and it's like, oh well, okay, but
Yeah.
I'd like to slide into Slock and Not So Common.
And Brian's done some professional work in the summer. I saw him at the late lamented Theater Barn in Fully Committed, and an Agatha Christie. What the heck was that called?
Fiddler's 3.
Fiddler's 3, her last play.
I'm not familiar with that one.
Yeah.
It was
It's not done often.
for good reason.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was fun. Not a
Yes.
great
And
not well written.
last summer, you were in Something Rotten at Sharon Playhouse. Yeah.
That was incredibly validating, as
I'm sure.
because it was professional house, and there were people who were on Broadway, and Stephen Schwartz came to the show, and Kevin Bacon came to the show. All these major players, and it's like, and I said, "Oh, you're funny, good for you, kid." And I was like, "Oh, thank you."
You made Kevin Bacon laugh.
I did.
6 degrees of separation, or 6
Well,
degrees
see,
of
I
Kevin
figured
Bacon.
I'm
Ryan Palmer.
I'm 5 degrees to Patrick Stewart, right? Because I did Something Rotten with wonderful actress named Jen Cody, who was married to Hunter Foster, who was the brother of Sutton Foster, who did Music Man with Hugh Jackman, who did X-Men with Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen. So we're very close to being best friends. I know it.
Okay.
Wow. All right. Thanks, Ryan. Let's talk about your current projects. Shayna Maidel. What does that mean?
It means a pretty girl.
And tell us about the play. What happens in the play?
It's a fascinating play, actually. It's you have to be prepared for an emotional roller coaster ride, but it's about a family that was separated during World War II, actually before World War II, before the Depression. They're living in Poland. Father tries to get them out. The older daughter gets scarlet fever, so she and the mother stay behind. The father and the younger daughter go to America, and then because of the Depression, he won't borrow the money to get the wife and the daughter out. So they end up in the concentration camps. And the only person who survives is the daughter, who had been married, and when she arrives in America, she's desperately looking for her husband. She got separated during the camps. I don't want to give too much away.
Yeah.
It has a bittersweet kind of happy ending.
Yeah.
But it's really a story about people and relationships and mistakes and what you can make up for and atone for and what you can't, and how people survive. It's about the resilience, I think, of the human spirit. It's really a beautifully written play. And we're
Awesome.
lucky we have a really nice group of actors.
Who do you have?
We have Matt Leining, who probably has not been performing up. He's a doctor from Albany Med, really talented. Carissa Payson, also a younger woman, very talented. We've been working with her since she was in high school doing Shakespeare. Christine Vermillier, which people up here would know.
Yep.
She's playing the best friend, and brilliant. Debbie Lombardi is playing the mother, who I think you probably know.
Yes, very
And
well.
Ken Goldfarb
Farb.
is playing the father.
Love Ken. Yeah. Great. Awesome. Who's directing?
Stephen
Great.
Sanborn.
Excellent. How'd you come across the play? Or the play's been around for a while.
Yes,
It's
has.
actually pretty popular. I think it was made into a TV movie with Kira Sedgwick.
Oh.
Yeah, separation from Kevin Bacon.
There you go.
um,
Well, actually, I came across it a long time ago. One of my acting coaches, somebody I was actually studying Shakespeare with, who had said, "This is a really good play for you. You should do it sometime." And then Shadowlands down in Ulster County, small professional company, was doing it, and they cast me. So I had done it then, and then I said to Stephen, "Someday maybe we should think about doing this."
so you've worked at Shadowlands
Yes,
with Brendan.
Brendan Burke.
He was my teacher, and
Oh, I love Brendan.
I love
Yeah,
Brendan.
I'm trying to think of what I think I performed with him in the stuff we did for the Kennedy Center. I think, and he directed us in something else. I can't remember what now. Ages ago. Won't tell you how long.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw. We like to go down. I think that's a very cool space, Shadowlands. And now they've got the second space.
Yes.
Yeah, which is cool. We saw 39 Steps there, and a strange play, a crossword play, which was all about building a crossword puzzle. And it was a one-man show. And
They do some really interesting things.
yeah, it was great.
I'd worked with TriArts before they moved to Sharon Playhouse. So I had done some of the work. That was in Pine Plains at the time. So Mary Tyler Moore came to see that one.
Oh.
So it's 2 degrees from Mary Tyler Moore.
Yeah.
But that was good. I got to meet some really neat people, and I'd done a number of things. We did Annie Get Your Gun, Sound of Music. I can't remember what else. Oh, Pajama Game. I played Gladys in that one. So then they moved.
Yep.
So
Great. And Ryan, you are currently working on The Minutes
Yes.
by Tracy Letts, Pulitzer and Tony nominated.
Great play. Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Okay. I'll just try to remember what Brian said last time, and
Yes, this is the Minutes podcast.
yeah. It's funny till it's not. It's about this. We haven't really determined if it's a small town council or whatever we decided, but it's a 10-person city council, and there's the new guy who just trying to break through, make his mark, and they seemingly talk about nothing for 50 minutes. It's, I've got my thing with, we need an accessible fountain. Gary Hoffman, who is beyond hysterical as the old man, goes on about, I need a better parking space. Aaron Moore, who is hysterical, goes on about, oh, well, we should have this thing where you can fight Abraham Lincoln in the park. So it's just nonsense. All the while, the new guy, Mr. Peel, played by Kevin O'Toole, in his first play, I believe, because I know he's mostly musicals.
Is that true?
It might be, but don't sue me for libel
Yes.
if it isn't.
Yes, so we'll have to make some corrections, whether F. Murray Abraham hides his Oscar or whether Kevin O'Toole is actually his first play. I did not know that.
I'm like 90%.
All right.
But
He is awesome.
he's incredible. And, his character is the new guy. He's missed a meeting, and suddenly, we don't have the minutes for the last meeting. And this other city councilman is gone, and no one will talk about it. And people are actively avoiding talking about it. And so we find out
Until,
what happens with that. And
more is revealed.
like we've been saying for the last 2 months with the promos, and when it's funny right up until it's not. And when it stops being funny, it stops being funny.
Yeah.
And it's great cast, great.
Yeah, and
writing.
I think it was a surprise to the cast how it's being received by the audience. Kind of surprising to me. I don't know.
I knew it would be
Oh, yeah?
loved. I knew it. I just knew.
Confidence. Yeah, because we're getting huge laughs from the preview. How do you feel about free previews, Connie? Do you do them, or does two of us?
We don't do them mostly because we have very small audiences to begin with.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it could really eat away into the audience because we're in small spaces. When we do things like the larger musicals,
right,
we sometimes will have somebody, but
right. And you're in a different community, right? So if your pool of audience members is
It's small.
limited,
Yeah.
then I understand. I am a huge fan of pay what you will previews. I just think it gets the show off to a rockin' start. I think the audiences are primed and they're happier because they haven't paid, and they're more responsive. There's a supportive vibe, and I think the Capital Region, there are a number of houses that do the pay what you will preview. SLOC does it, SCP does it. ACT does it, and it Harbinger will always do it.
And I know yours are usually on the ones that I've been to have been on Wednesday, which is so convenient because that's like, oh well, we're not going to rehearse Wednesdays, so it's like, great, I can actually.
Yeah, and that goes to different scheduling, which was a topic of conversation recently, always. But, scheduling shows, and I'm all for that, too, because we were talking, there are like 8 shows opening this weekend, There is Lost in Yonkers that's finishing its run, Fool for Love, running 1 weekend only. Peter Pan running for 2 weekends at Homemade Theatre. Minutes is continuing its run. Missing something. Yeah. But, so if we had a Saturday matinee, which I'm going to see Peter Pan at, or Sunday evening show, or Monday, Tuesday. We have Wednesday shows because at the barn, you can't do matinees because they have the skylight. So you can't control the light. So we do Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night. When we do St. Rose Theater, we're going to have Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay.
So that gives us a matinee, but it also takes away the Wednesday preview. We'll have a Thursday preview. But anyway, the Pay What You Will preview, I think is, I just love it.
Yeah.
And Albany, for the production of the minutes, it proved to be true.
Mm-hmm.
We had, 45 people.
And Kevin, possible more liable, I don't know. Kevin McNamara said that it was, in the box was something like $300, which
Whoa!
is really
Well,
nice.
we'll do like really reduced group rates, and we send that out to the schools so that's even less than the children's senior rates to try to encourage that.
Right.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, it kicks the show off,
Oh, yeah.
and gives the so opening night was kind of like we were already rocking and rolling. We were kind of like that was an easy house last night.
They laughed less on opening night.
Yeah, but then we had them back. It's Saturday, actually. This play, also Sunday, was kind of quiet. And then there's moments where they just started coming along with us.
Yeah. Sunday was
I think
creepy.
the recreation kind of like pushed them over the edge and said, "Oh!"
Yeah, and that my mother, because she'll always give me like a little rundown of what she liked, what she didn't. She said, I didn't really get the recreation, why it was so much, but I thought it was funny as hell. Oh, can I say that? I don't know if I can say that. Funny.
Yeah,
as
you
heck.
can say it.
And so whether or not people think it's necessary, because when I first read it, I'm like, this little, because they recreate the battle that their town is formed on. And when I first read it, I said, all right, this maybe a little too long, maybe just too much silliness, because it does before it is, like I said, nonsense. They're just rattling off about nonsense, but it's serious nonsense. And this recreation is
Serious nonsense.
silly. We're running around, we're screaming, we're making sounds. Patrick rides a broom. Like, all right.
Yeah, man. It's the creation myth. But anyway, Pay What You Will preview. And so the minutes, your second show at Albany Civic Theater, and I'm in it. It's a cast of 11.
11 of us.
And directed by Brian Sheldon, running next weekend. And we're having a blast. We've gotten 6 reviews, all really good for the production. Some reservations about the play, but excellent reviews and great houses. We're looking to continue the party.
Looking this morning, Sunday looks to be a nice chunky house.
Chunky house.
Chunky
I like
house.
that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Can I borrow that?
You can borrow it. Go ahead.
Yeah, and we got a talk back on Sunday, which Ryan said he was a little nervous about. Have you done talkbacks,
I
Connie?
have not recently, but I love them. I always love
I
to
do
hear
too.
what the audience has to say and the questions they come up with.
Yeah. Chris hates me because we'll be in New Haven. We'll go to Yale and they'll have a talk back. And he's like, because I'm staying. It's like I paid and this is like my added bonus.
Mm-hmm.
This is whatever, free whipped cream on top of my sundae. I'm always up for talk back. I think, again, if I can get more theater in my life, I'm all for it. And Ryan had reservations about the talkback coming up. We have one on Sunday with the chunky audience. Why? Why do you have reservations?
Well, there were 3 things in the play that our director Brian Sheldon said, we're not talking about this. This is what you think it is
It's a comedy,
until it's not.
but it's suspenseful, and then it's horrific.
And there's three things that he said, this is what everyone's going to leave with, but don't tell anybody because it'll ruin the experience. And I agree. And that's going to be the three things this chunky audience is going to ask. And so, we're going to have to well, what do you think? For, all 11 of us, for all 15 people who are going to ask that question, well, what do you think? And it's like, I don't know if they'll leave happy, at that point, because they'll want to know.
But will they be questioning? That's important too.
They will be, yes, yeah. And but I like answers, right? So if I was sitting there and I'd say, Patrick, what about da da da? And he said, what do you think? I'd be like, all right then. Well,
You would
flip
hate-
the table. I'd hate you. I'd be like, all right.
You'd
then.
hate me?
I'd hate you. Yeah.
Oh, see, I like that. I want to think about all the possibilities.
I really, Harbinger loves talkbacks. We do talkbacks every Friday. Every single Friday performance, we've had a talkback. I think that if you're picking a provocative play, minutes,
Yeah.
that you should give the audience the opportunity. You're free to leave, but you should give them the opportunity to respond. And to share that with your community. And I think it builds and bonds, and and you get to hear firsthand whether the play worked for them or not.
Right.
Right. And what your impact has been. Connie, can you remember a talkback that you really loved?
It was when I was doing Agnes of God.
Yeah.
And I played Agnes, so this is a while ago. And I remember being able to really talk about what it must have been like for people. And because let's face it, there are people that are suffering from abuse all over the place. They're not all in facilities. They're out there in pain. And it really opened up the opportunity for people to talk about that, talk about how they could relate to the character, talk about how those experiences had changed them and what they needed to do to overcome it. And I just find, and that's what I love about theater. It can help you have realizations, it can help you feel things, it can help you heal. And that was the most meaningful that I can remember right now.
Excellent. Yeah. I was talking about the talkback I had for Doubt at Berkshire Actors Theatre a number of years ago, and there was an audience member that was quite angry with Father Flynn, and he wanted to know, did you do it? Did he molest the little boy Mueller? And I was like... little taken aback. I had a definite answer for my character, but my director and the cast never asked. But I was not going to answer. I don't think I ever, maybe it crossed my mind, just tell him. And I was like, no. I was like, you can't say what Father Flynn's truth is. Because, and it's such a tricky play. Because, whether Philip Seymour Hoffman or Brian O'Byrne, who created it, many people thought they had different answers to that question, or they speculated. Mm-hmm. You don't know. I don't think I've ever heard either of them state that. But yeah, I said, I'm sorry, I can't answer that. And he goes, you have to tell me. And I was like, the name of the play is Doubt. And truly, why Father Flynn capitulates to Sister Aloysius, I think, is because everyone has a past, which I told him. Father Flynn has done something, and he knows that she will get to it, whatever it is, whether it's Mueller or something else. And yeah. But, talkbacks, I can't wait. And, there are 12 of us. If we don't bring the technical staff on hand, if we bring Regina and Cassidy and Quinn up on stage, there's going to be like 15 of us.
Yeah.
See, actually, now you got me thinking. I'll see if I could suggest that we do one.
I think you should.
I think we should too.
Yeah.
Especially with that play,
Yes.
I think. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I'd love to see a talkback.
I'll put the bug in everybody's ear.
I went to a talkback yesterday. Well, it wasn't a talkback. The Shakespeare and Company is doing a residency at Hudson Valley Community College, and they do it for, I don't know, 14 years they've been doing it. This is the kids' week off, President's Day or whatever, the midwinter break. And they did Midsummer Night's Dream with 7 actors. And then they had a brief talkback with the audience. And they started their talkback. All 7 actors had a statement. And they wanted the audience to stand up, whether they agree wholeheartedly or give waffle hands, whether they somewhat agreed, or sat silently, whether they didn't agree at all. And the statements were like, pain is funny. Mr. Palmer, our genius of humor. Pain is funny. How do you feel about that?
I mean, physical pain.
We're having a talk back on the podcast.
I mean, like when I was doing Moonlight Magnolias, and we slid on the banana peels and went through the cardboard box. That's funny. But if you're doing like Wit, and like the woman is
It's a different kind of
dying, it's a different kind of pain.
Yeah.
So it's, I guess like external pain.
So if that's brought up in a talkback, interesting question, right?
Yeah, because it's
about what you just saw in Midsummer Night's Dream. Another statement was, there are no villains in this play.
Yeah, I don't think there's any villains.
I would agree.
Okay, so you're both
flawed people.
stand up.
Yeah.
No, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I saw a talkback. I was doing Doubt Again. I was not driving at the time. I was staying at my aunt and uncle's house in Pittsfield, and I had a bike loan, and I rode my bike to Chester Theatre Company, which is beyond Jacob's Pillow. So I don't know what that is, like 20 miles or something. Yeah. And I went to go see Rajiv Joseph's Animals Out of Paper. They had a matinee and they had a talkback. I had a performance in Pittsfield that night. And I'm sitting there at the talkback, and the former artistic director of Chester held an awesome talkback by him. Stevens, I believe his name is. And he used to ask the audience, and he developed this whole community of theater goers in Chester through, a lot of it was through talkbacks, because he and like everybody stayed. And he would say, like, what do you see when you come into the theater? And they'd all talk about the set, and they'd talk about, what the design elements were and things like that. And it was just great. Anyway, I was almost late for that night's performance. I came pulling in at 10 after 7.
Uh-oh.
No cell phones at the time.
And barely a mag. What time was curtain?
7:30.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I was working under an equity contract, so I was only 10 minutes late. No. All righty. So that's the talkbacks and showtimes. Collaborations. How'd you, Steve directed for classic Broken Glass by Arthur Miller. What led him to work outside the company, outside of two of us?
I think we're always interested in seeing what other people are doing, what their venues are like, how things are happening, and collaborating with people. You get great new ideas by working with people outside of your own company. So they had been advertising for directors, and he ended up applying. He directed for RPI the same way. He'd seen that they were looking for directors. We knew the person who was the musical director. So it's an opportunity to meet new actors, new directors, technical people, get some ideas, get to do things again if you want to try to do the same show that you've done before and do it in a different way.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And now you're collaborating with them. Is it, are you splitting production costs, or is it just?
Well, they're actually producing, so they're handling production costs, the scripts, the rights to the play. We've done things like brought up lighting, done a lot of the costuming. Actually, the whole cast has done a lot of costuming, but I've brought up a lot of costume pieces. We've brought up most of the props for the show, but they're building the sets. So it's really a collaboration.
Great.
We're all doing what we do best, basically.
Great. Awesome. Yeah, I'm very excited to see it. We were talking earlier, Picasso at the La Pina Gil, Classics' last production, had really good audiences. I think, Classics had some, struggles with, production where they are. So it's good to see. I'm glad you're there. Mr. Palmer, we heard Two of Us Productions' future plans. Do you have anything in the hopper that you care to share with the class?
Well, I'm auditioning for Play It Again Sam at SCP with Evan Jones directing. And then, as you know, I had my callback for Sharon Playhouse for the prom. And I'm just gonna see what happens.
Fingers crossed. Very good.
Yeah.
Excellent. So now we come to the time in the broadcast, the podcast, where we talk about the play that changed my life. Connie.
That's tough.
I know it's tough.
Two right at the same time.
There are a dozen.
All right, so I have to pick. I guess West Side
You
Story.
can do two.
Okay, then I will tell you both.
Sure. We have 10 minutes.
West Side Story and Agnes of God.
Okay.
Similar but different reasons. West Side Story, because up until then, all I had been seeing in terms of musicals was like fluffy stuff you'd see on TV, like Doris Day and things like that. And West Side Story was about people that I can imagine knowing, people that had real issues that I was used to seeing. And it was beautifully done. The music was beautiful. It was just made me realize how much theater can actually do in terms of the human condition. Not just I love acting, so obviously I get a lot out of doing that. But it's what theater can actually do to transform people's lives. So that was that, and the other was Agnes of God, and we talked a little bit about that before. But usually, when you think about somebody who has mental health issues, you think of what people portray on TV, and they're crazy and they're killing people and they're doing all these horrible things. And here's this poor soul that had been tormented, her whole life, and how people could act in the audience who've had issues that were similar could react to it. And my own past, I could relate to things that had happened, and how it makes you realize important things in your own life, how you can make it different, how what happened to you made you who you are, and how you survive, and how you have survived, and the fact that you can survive things like that. So that's what really made me develop an even further love of theater. It's not just about performing, it's about what it can do to your life and everybody else's. So
Great. Yeah, and how it can change your life. Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks so much. Ryan?
I also have two. I'll tell the fast stories.
I'm going to have to change the name of the podcast.
You might have to. The first one is The Producers musical. I had seen that musical, and I can't even tell you why or where it was, but between 8th grade and high school, I had seen it in July, and I said, I want to do what they're doing. So then the next day I got on the phone to the guidance office and said, I would like to take a theater class when I get to high school next year. Can I do that? And they said, sure. And that's when I met Barb and started this whole thing. Because, the character of Bialystok is so funny and so ridiculous. And I said, I want to do that. So that was play number one that got me on the road.
You saw it?
I saw it. I couldn't. It was
Broadway.
No, it was somewhere in Massachusetts. And
Okay.
and again, I can't tell you why I was out there, why I saw it, because I had no idea, because we weren't like a musical family. But I was there. And
Just something to do.
yeah. But of course, I was in 8th grade, so I was like, I couldn't bring myself, so I couldn't tell you why. But here I am, 12-year-old, saying I want to play that unpleasant 50-year-old producer. And then it was
Makes perfect sense to me.
doesn't it though? And then it's actually Moonlight Magnolias directed by Sky Vogel out in the theater barn. It was like my first lead in a professional play, and we almost filled the house every night, and just the reaction to that, I said, okay, this is something that I can do and do well forever. So that right there kind of cemented that. All right, I'm gonna chase this, and whatever happens, happens. And so far, it's been doing fine. But
That's excellent. Yeah. I knew it. I knew it from the Ghost of Christmas Present. Thank you. Yeah, that's great. And I saw that Moonlight and Magnolias. It was great.
yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
good. Fantastic. So I'm kind of like, what are we talking about now? We've covered everything. Let's give final dates again. Shayna Maidel.
Shayna Maidel opens February 29th. We run for 2 weeks, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Thank you.
No, not Friday. Oh, my goodness.
No,
Thursday,
no.
Saturday, and Sunday. Please don't come on Friday. It's
at the
Thursday,
temple.
Saturday, and Sunday.
Excellent. And it's only a play?
It's only a play. It will be in May. It will be at the Claverick Library, and I can't remember the dates.
Okay, no problem. May. It's coming up.
It's May.
Coming up in May.
Yeah, you can check our website, www.thetwoofusproductions.org.
Excellent. Mr. Palmer.
The Minutes continues its 3-week run tonight at 7:30, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 7:30, 7:30, 3 o'clock.
Correct.
And then March 1st, 2nd, 3rd, same times. AlbanyCivic.org.
Okay.
Just Google Albany Civic.
Okay. Find one of our reviews.
There's like 7 of
Daily
them.
Gazette, Saratogian, Nippertown. And Harbinger is producing In the Blood by Pulitzer winner Suzanne Laurie Parks, directed by T.J. Collins. It's going to be at the St. Rose Theatre March 15th through March 24th. March 14th is the free preview night. March 15th and 22nd are the talkbacks, and March 16th is a farewell to St. Rose night. We will be the last production performing in the St. Rose Theatre as the college closes down coming this June. I was thinking about it this morning. We're doing a play about an unhoused woman on a campus that will soon have 87 buildings up for habitation, but that there are unhoused people in Albany, which has 700 abandoned buildings. That we have theater companies looking for a space that it's kind of makes you scratch your head. The play is more about it's Suzanne Laurie Parks' updated version riff on Hawthorne's Scarlet Letter. The woman is Hester. She has 5 children from 5 different fathers, and the actors who play the 5 children also play the 5 forces in her life: her social worker, her best friend, her reverend, her doctor, And it sort of takes, what Hawthorne was saying about Puritan society, and it asks us what are our attitudes towards the unhoused population, and what are we feeling or saying or seeing. Do we make moral judgments on those who are without housing? So it's a great play, and it's incredibly theatrical. Nicole Polito is playing Hester, and we have Zach Kaiser, Alia Al Fuhed, Dalton Russell, Tyler Cardona, and Monet Thompson Young. I got it all. Whenever I start listing a cast, I'm like, you are a brave man. I'm like, get halfway through, and I'm like, keep going, keep going. I was telling you last week, I listed the cast in the minutes, and I started listing character names, and I was like, oh, now you're really out on the edge. It's all, like testing my.
I got you.
Yeah, see if I still got it. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you
for coming to this and getting more theater in my life. I really appreciate it, and thank all of you for listening, watching, and we'll see you again. I hope to see you in a theater soon. Thanks very much.